And welcome back to Cigar Time, your friendly neighborhood TV show all about premium cigars.
Where we get technology straight.
Or not.
Or not is correct.
We get it vertical.
So welcome back, everyone.
Good to be back.
It is good to be
It is
back.
good to be back.
What happened last week? Anything bad?
Were you here last week?
Well, last week the Phillies.
Oh, the
lost.
Phillies, yeah. What are we going to do? I've forgotten about that already. Thanks for bringing it up.
You're welcome.
So,
Yeah, let's move on to football.
let's move. Yeah, absolutely. The Eagles are doing well.
Yep.
All right.
Did they win Sunday?
Yes.
How about last Sunday?
Yes.
Sunday before?
Our game doesn't count.
Yes. Paul, what are we smoking today?
We are smoking a brand new old cigar from Don Pepin, or my father's cigars. This is the Don Pepin Vegas Cubanas, which means Cuban farm.
That name
actually.
sounds familiar.
Well, it should. This was actually
Segue.
that was great.
I like segue.
This was actually Don Pepin's first brand of his own, way back at the beginning. It was a very different cigar back then, completely differently packaged. And they ran it for a few years until Jaime Garcia got involved in the company and it became My Father's Cigars instead of Don Pepin.
Right.
And they dropped the brand at that point. They resurrected it in 2017, but it was the same as it had been, and it did not really fly. So they pulled it back almost immediately. Now they've completely reblended and rebranded this cigar. It's a completely different cigar with a look that's much more like Don Pepin stuff in
like
general.
the blue label or the black label.
Yeah.
This is a green label.
It's actually a very good looking presentation in the box and on
Yeah.
the cigar.
Absolutely.
I like the muted green because I think like the brighter green, for some reason they just never seem to sell.
I don't know.
I think neon colors do not work on cigars.
Yeah, there's certain. I mean, it comes down to packaging. There's certain things that just for whatever reason don't
Work.
catch the eye or repel the eye or I don't know.
No, Camacho does it. Who else? Who copied Camacho?
Sancho does what?
The Vault.
The Vault. The Vault, actually, I like their color scheme. That was pretty good. Although, unfortunately, that brand just went away. Maybe
it'll
they'll
come
bring that back. Exactly.
The Vault. Why I don't remember the Vault.
As time moves on, everything comes
Tirana.
back around.
Oh yeah.
In bright colored, solid color boxes. Like the Camachos.
like the Camachos.
I don't
But they were
remember that.
purple and blue.
VBL has the bright yellow box. But that catches for whatever reason that catches the eye of the box. But with the cigar band, I think it's a little different.
Yeah.
The blend of this cigar sounds very, very simple on paper. It is a Nicaraguan Puro. The wrapper is a Nicaraguan Corojo Rosado. And
Okay.
you don't see a lot of Corojo grown in Nicaragua.
No, and also, like I said, I don't know, maybe it's because of the lights. It doesn't really look like a Rosado wrapper either.
It does have a little bit
There's
of red
not
hue.
much of that reddish
Yeah.
tint that you would normally find in a Rosado.
Yeah.
A little bit of rojo.
Rojo.
Today our topic is, one of our topics is cigars that went away and have been brought back.
This one went away and came back.
That's why we're doing
That's why we're discussing that.
I get
as
the
a
first one.
topic.
it.
Congratulations.
Vegas Cubanas?
No, it's Vega Cubana.
Okay.
You don't
Thank
pronounce
you,
the
Mr.
S.
Obvious.
Still say there's no such thing as a silent S in
Yeah.
English or Spanish.
Really?
There might be some in French,
Oh,
but we don't care about that.
no. What are some other cigars?
Well, one that jumps right out to me is Sancho Panza.
Yes.
And, they had several versions of Sancho Panza's non-Cuban,
Right.
and none of them were a big success. And in the Matt Booth era, they reblended and repackaged the whole Sancho Panza line,
Right.
and it's now out there at a really nice price point and
It
very
is.
successful.
Absolutely.
Matt Booth
sells
has
really
been
well.
for that long.
Yeah,
Seems like just,
I guess.
it seems like this new Sancho Panza has been out for a while, but I guess
No, it's not
No,
that
it's
long.
not been that
A
long.
year
No.
and change.
Yeah, a little over a year.
what a great job they did with that too.
The Sancho Panza
Yeah, great
Cuban is
cigar.
one of my favorite cigars.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, that hasn't gone away and
No.
come back.
No,
That's
Hard to
really
get.
nice.
Thank goodness.
Very hard to get.
strong.
Yes, good stuff.
Actually, one of the very, very, very few times I've ever gotten dizzy and like nauseous from a cigar
Really?
was whatever the heck Windsor. It was Windsor, Ontario. It's right above Detroit, and we crossed the border. I was up there I was in Detroit for business. Never will go back. And
We spent 3 hours in their airport, remember?
oh yeah.
It was horrible.
But we went across the border, checked out whatever the nightlife of Windsor, and picked up a cigar or two, and I was smoking a Sancho Panza, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I was just like, "Whoa!" I had to sit down, and I was like sweating, and like,
Yeah.
I got dizzy, and I felt a little nauseous.
A shake and sweat cigar.
Yeah, and then it just went away.
Did you have some dark chocolate?
I don't know. I don't remember.
don't know.
If I had, it wouldn't have been because I knew that would help. I mean, we're talking 1997, 98.
Before you grew your cigar tolerance all the way.
I guess, but it's happened, I don't know, like in the last 5. It's only happened like 3 or 4 times.
Let's go to our first impressions, Moose.
I'm enjoying it. It's kind of floral, creamy. That's about all I'm picking up right now. It burns well. Construction's good.
Paul?
It is, right off the bat, significantly milder than a typical My Father product. Definitely does not have that pepper smack in the face
Nope, that's
that
the first
you
thing I
usually
thought of.
open up.
Yep.
But it does have flavors. There's some light white peppers kind of flavor. It is definitely creamy. Smoke output is fantastic, as usual.
Scott?
Draw is perfect. It's not making me sneeze on the retrohale.
Nice.
I agree with the creaminess. I'm also getting some kind of a sweetness, a subtle sweetness out of it, and also it seems very nutty to me. Like almost,
Yeah, I'm getting that, too.
almost like
Yeah.
maybe the sweetness is coming from that, but what's that sweet? What's cashew? Because I always thought cashews were kind of sweet.
Okay. I'm getting, through the retrohale, I'm getting a roasted coffee
Really?
taste. Yeah. You get that too?
Yes, I do, and
kidding.
it's nice.
Yeah.
For a retro
switch.
ale, it's really
We'll
nice.
switch.
I don't see that happening.
How would you know?
Yeah, no, he's had espresso.
Oh, yeah.
I've eaten
You've
coffee
eaten
beans.
coffee.
I've eaten coffee beans.
Okay.
That's like the ultimate. That's the ultimate thing to eat in Costa Rica.
Coffee beans?
Chocolate covered coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, they're
They
awesome.
sell
They're
them
awesome.
at the airport. They sell them everywhere in Costa Rica.
Dark
It's
chocolate.
a thing down there.
They're
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh, they're so good.
But I can roasted coffee. I can smell roasted coffee. So that's how I know. I don't
Yeah, you're
drink it.
olfactory.
Yeah.
As a
that's
purveyor
how I
of
know.
fine and rare cigars, you should know that.
Fine and rare.
No,
That's a brand that goes away and comes back every year.
it's rare that we
Absolutely.
have any.
Nat Sherman.
Didn't come back.
Good.
Yeah, today,
Well,
today we're
the
talking about
host.
stuff that's coming back.
Yeah, you already said that.
Did I? All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, the host and the Metropolitan, and it's just not called Nat Sherman.
Again,
It's a technicality.
agree with
It's a technicality.
Talk
No,
about
I
Tri-
have to disagree first.
Okay.
Talk
They
about
never
Trinidad.
really went away.
Talk about Trinidad.
Not yet. The Nat Sherman stuff didn't go away. The company went out of business. Mike Herklotz set up a new company and bought the brands and started making them before the other ones even disappeared off the shelf.
Well, we still have some
Okay.
of the Sancho Panza in one of the stores, Phoenixville to be exact.
I know.
So that cigar hasn't gone away either.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
Talk about Trinidad.
Well, Trinidad is a brand that has come and gone multiple times, while El Tatas has tried to figure out how to sell a non-Cuban Trinidad.
Right.
And they've had an uphill battle. They tried something, and the name escapes me, but it was a large ring gauge box pressed cigar with a green and black band.
I remember that.
And it was a disaster.
I remember that.
It was a horrifically bad tasting cigar.
And the name was
Trinidad something.
It was a horrible name too.
Yeah.
Can't
So
remember it.
that
I can
died a
picture it,
quick
but I can't-
death.
Yeah.
Then they came out with the Trinidad Cuban Reserve. And that came in small plain wood boxes of 10 cigars.
10 count, yeah.
And those did pretty well for a little while. They started to die in the marketplace in general. We actually bought up a whole bunch of them
Yes, we did.
and spent a couple of years selling them out.
Yes.
So after that, Trinidad was kind of invisible for a while. And then, and I think it was the Grupo de Maestros that did this, they relaunched the whole brand as Trinidad Espiritu. And first they came out with the Espiritu #1 with a Habano wrapper that is an absolutely delicious cigar and an unequivocal success in the
Right.
marketplace. Then they came out with the Trinidad Espiritu #2 with a Brazilian wrapper. And that's also a phenomenal cigar and a big success.
Yeah.
So they called it the #2.
Yeah.
They call it the Trinidad
Number two.
Espiritu #2.
So that's a crack creative team right there.
Yeah, right. And that, along your point, they're coming out with a #3.
Yes, they are. The first Trinidad with a Mexican San Andres Maduro
We got to
wrapper.
hire that marketing team. Yeah.
The
That's
1, 2, and
all-star.
3.
That's an all-star
Yeah.
team right there.
I'll take the blending team, never mind the marketing
Yes.
team.
Well, the Grupo de Maestros.
Grupo de
They'll replace
Maestros
the
is
Grupo de
almost as
Bozos.
good as the Grupo de Bozos.
Yeah.
Almost as good. but not quite.
Isn't that one of your top 5 cigars, the Spiritu?
Absolutely. And Paul's.
Yes.
The Espiritu #1 is one of my favorite cigars in the store.
That is in my
Absolutely.
daily rotation.
Yes. Absolutely one of the best cigars out there. So, all right. What other cigars? I see you wrote some down.
Let's see. The El Baton, that went away and came back.
That's
J.C.
from
Newman.
J.C. Newman, yeah.
Also reblended and repackaged.
That was kind of their first, well, it was their first Nicaraguan cigar. And it was their first, what I call kind of a grown-up cigar. You know, they made a lot of low-price stuff.
Well, they
Well, Costa Ray.
That's low-price stuff.
When's that going away? So they can bring it back.
yeah.
I think it did.
Costa Ray's really, that's not that low priced, is it?
No, not really.
I
$7,
mean,
$8 bucks.
Alka-Seltzer's lower priced.
Alcazar.
Oh, is that what it's called? Oh, all right.
Wish that would come
But that's a
back.
bundled product. But no, I mean, J.C. Newman has the
They have a couple of higher-end brands.
like the Maximus and the Julius
Diamond
Caesar,
Crown.
But they
and the
didn't
Diamond
just have
Crown.
a
American.
regular, everyday, grown-up real cigar until the El Baton.
Okay.
And what I'm not sure about is when it came back, if they had reblended it
They
or
did.
just repackaged it.
They did both.
They did both.
Yes.
So that qualifies for sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Paul. Go ahead.
Another one under Matt Booth's guidance, although I think Matt Booth's involvement has been more about packaging than about blending, which might be a good thing. But he worked on the long defunct Los Stratos brand.
I didn't know that was a brand before it came out now.
Yeah,
Or-
it was a brand a while back, and it's actually a Cuban machine-made brand, Los Stratos.
I had never heard of it.
And that's where it came from originally, and then General brought it out as a non-Cuban brand, and it died. This is a long time ago. It died almost right away, and they were just looking for a brand to bring back under Matt Booth, and Los Stratos was actually the first one before even the Sancho Panza.
Yeah. It comes in that tissue paper.
Comes in a printed tissue paper and a white box with a logo that looks like it ought to be for a basketball team.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Pretty funny. Others, there was the Coronado from La Flor Dominicana, which years ago I thought that was, I loved that cigar.
It was a great cigar because it had a
fantastic.
Cameroon wrapper on it.
Yeah.
It was phenomenally
Fantastic
good. Yeah,
flavor. It wasn't, from La Flor, it wasn't overly powerful. Just delicious, but just, I guess, just the marketplace didn't agree and it just didn't sell. And they've since brought,
It's not
I
as
don't
good
know
as
if
it
I've
used
had,
to be.
I don't know if I've
I
had the
think
new
it's
one.
I have.
actually quite good.
Do
don't
you like it?
Yeah,
I don't.
do.
It's not as good as it used to be.
No, that's true.
To me, anyway. I don't know.
There's the La Vieja from Drew Estate,
Drew Estate.
which was that's more
It's their first cigar. The first
it?
cigar Drew Estate made.
and that was more of a budget cigar. I mean, when
Yes.
it first came out, it was like $3.50 or something. You get a box of 20 for $60 or something.
I think it was
like
less
that.
than that. Yeah.
And even the
No, it
box,
was way less than that
the
because
box was nice,
Art
attractive,
Deco-ish?
but
Yes.
it was cheap. It was made out of
Cardboard.
like and really crappy cardboard, and they
Yeah.
put all that stupid tobacco in it.
that box used to the cigars, individual cigars sold for like $1.99, $2. So a
Were
box
they really?
of yeah,
They were that cheap?
they
And
were that cheap.
We
yeah.
still get people asking if we have it.
yeah.
I don't remember being that cheap, but I don't know. I guess they were.
Another
It was,
great
it was a
example.
decent cigar, though.
It was a decent cigar, but for some reason at that price point, I thought it was short fill or even a mix fill. Hey, Moose.
Probably not here.
I think it would be, or at least mix fill at best.
At best.
Yeah.
Another brand from my father that was one of the, at least most promoted resurrections in recent history was Fonseca,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
was a brand. First, it was a brand in Cuba, then it was a brand in the U.S., and I forget who controlled it. Somebody in the Dominican Republic. I forget his name.
I don't know. Was it?
He makes a lot of cigars for a lot of
Didn't
people.
Casada have it?
Yes,
That's what I
that's who
thought.
I meant. Manuel
Yeah.
Casada.
Well, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Don Pepin bought it, trashed the blend completely, trashed the packaging almost completely, made a completely new cigar, which I think was vastly superior to its predecessor. I wouldn't
They
say
kept the
it
tissue
took
paper.
it. I wouldn't say it took off like crazy, but it's a successful brand, and it's actually a very good cigar. I think it's underappreciated.
It is very underappreciated.
For some reason, that's one of the brands where the smaller size, the Corona, is one of the better sellers for whatever reason.
It's also, it tastes a lot better.
Yeah.
A lot better than the other size.
The Cubans were really good.
Cuban Fonseca?
Fonsecas, yeah.
One of the
Never had
great
one.
mild Cubans.
Yeah. It's very good.
Lars Teton, that went away for a while and came back. For those of
I
you who
wish
like
it stayed
infused
away.
cigars.
And then went away again.
And then away again, yeah.
Yeah, it came around just long enough to inspire Drew Estate and then disappear.
Yeah.
And in a very strange marriage between him, Lars, and Alec Bradley, they brought it back for distribution. I don't know if it's even still around anymore.
Well, I
It
know
might
they-
have gone away again.
I think they
though.
took it back.
No idea.
Pretty sure they took it. I know they took it back. What else? What else do you have?
Well, I guess
Just
General
Lone Wolf.
wouldn't have wanted to buy that when they bought Alec Bradley.
Yeah.
But I wrote down Tatuaje and Viaje because they'll launch something in limited quantities and then bring it back 6 or 7 years later. But it's probably pre-planned, so that doesn't really count.
Yeah. Lone Wolf is interesting because that came out and that was such a.
That was a boom cigar, wasn't
It was a boom
Or
cigar.
post. It was just post boom.
It came out with James Belushi and Chuck Norris. Came out with that cigar. It was a really good cigar originally.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
No,
Yes.
it wasn't.
Yeah, you can say that all you want. but
You
you'd
know,
be
another
wrong.
one occurs to me,
As to you.
No.
but I forgot it already.
What?
I forgot it already.
It was a good cigar, and then
If I
it
don't
went.
say it as soon as I think of it, it's gone.
It went away for a while, and then it came back as a budget. Once they sold the company, it came back as a budget cigar, and they were selling for like $4 or $5 a piece. Then it went away again, and then somebody else bought it and brought it back as a real premium, like not. This is maybe about 10 years ago, at like $10 a cigar. $10, $11, and $12.
And how did it do?
It did not do very well at all. So now it's not even in existence anymore.
It's really hard to take a budget brand and rebuild it as an expensive brand.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Wasn't San Latano an old Cuban brand too?
It
I mean,
might
it's not
be.
exactly fitting this, but it's a
I think it might have been a minor Cuban brand.
yeah. That doesn't really fit this because then you could get into San Cristobal and because that was an
Which
old Cuban brand.
Didn't go away.
Well, it was an old Cuban brand.
Yeah,
Right, Dennis?
and that's a whole different topic of conversation.
you're
is
right.
old Cuban brands that
What about brands that you wish they would bring
I
back?
was just going to say that.
Great lines, think like me.
Yeah, no.
great minds think like you.
What cigar would you like to bring back?
El Rey de los Habanos from Don Pepin.
El
was the-
Rey de los
Well, that was actually the
King of
name
the-
of the company.
Yes, it
and
was.
I think
I
Cuba
don't know
sued
if they
them.
had a cigar named that.
Well, that's doesn't mean they didn't because they did. It was fantastic. It had a red cigar band. I've talked to Tom McCormick and I think like some of the reps are like really want to bring it back. It was fantastic. Like medium, rich in flavor, dark cigar.
Moose, you have any cigars that you want to bring back?
No.
In a word.
Dynamite drop in.
What about El Rico Habano, which
I
was
was thinking of
gone
that.
for a while,
It was.
for a long time.
Yeah, for a
actually.
long time it was gone.
Like maybe 15 years. And then it was brought back under the auspices of Oliva and EPC.
Really?
Really?
I don't remember. I've never seen one. Since it went away, I haven't seen one since, anywhere.
That's the thing. They go away. And I forget
And
about
you forget
them.
about them?
And I move on to something else.
But isn't there something you want that you liked? And,
Yes, but we can't get them in this country.
well,
There was the
The original El Rico Habano was the first super peppery cigar. on
dude,
the
that was
market.
a strong,
strong.
cigar, man. I remember trying that, and I'm like, holy
I
crap.
wish that was around all the
I
time.
wish they'd bring back the original Eduardo.
With
Yes,
the Colombian
the
filler.
Colombian
Colombian
filler.
filler.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah. And the Dominicana, I think that's what it was called. It had a real
The Goldfoot band?
no, not the Flor Dominicana.
No, the
I
Gold,
mean,
the
Eduardo
Eduardo
Dominicano.
Dominicano. I
Oh.
hated that cigar.
Oh no,
It
that's
was
what I
all
thinking of.
Dominican.
There was another cigar that was was called I think it was called Dominicana. It had a really
I remember
thin,
that, yeah.
really. I love
Anything
that
from
cigar.
the
I think it was from
Four Major
Altadis.
catalog?
That has
Oh,
been
yeah.
brought back.
No, that you wanted.
You want to bring, the Beethoven Forte.
Beethoven for
P3000.
Listen, I would love to bring back the
P3000.
P3000, but
Yeah.
I'm not finding any more old Cuban tobacco anywhere. That's
Drew
for
Estate,
sure.
I mean, what's that company in Tampa?
West-
Newman has them.
Well, Newman has what?
Has the Cuban tobacco.
Well, they have a bale in the basement.
How much do you need?
Yeah.
You just
with a spotlight on
you
it.
crush it
Yeah.
up, you
Go
put
take-
it in like a pepper shaker, and you shake it along. So it's got Cuban tobacco in it.
Actually, there's a company out in Texas. I think they're called Fink.
Fink.
That does that. They bought a million years ago. They bought some Cuban tobacco, and they've kept it. And they literally put a pinch in each cigar, and they say this cigar has pre-embargo Cuban tobacco.
Oh, my God.
There's another one that it was a barber pole, and it had a penguin on it. I think it was called the Penguin cigar. And I remember, it was. I loved it.
Never heard of it.
Oh yeah.
That rings a bell, but I don't remember
I remember
specifically anything about it.
I bought it from a place that was down the street from our Haverford store. They used to have them there.
You know, aside from El Rico Habano, another company that's gone that I really liked some of their cigars was Puros Indios.
Really, I
like
never
that.
liked that
Oh, I
cigar.
like that.
I never liked that. That's a Honduran cigar. I
Aside
don't-
from the fact that like 50% were plugged, the flavor was
The,
fantastic.
I never
the
liked it.
rolling was, the blending was good, the rolling was poor, and the owner was one of the best cooks I've ever met personally. And if you did business with him, you had to go to his house, and he had to cook dinner for you.
I've been to their factory, but in Honduras. But
The original Casa Fernandez, that was phenomenal.
yeah, it's a good cigar.
I loved that cigar.
The cigar that I would want to bring back is the Monte Cruz. That's not around anymore. That was a really good
I have some.
cigar. That was.
I do.
It was from.
Was that an early Cameroon?
No, it was
was not a
from.
Cameroon?
It was from the Canary Islands.
Oh, right.
They were. It was a really good cigar.
There was a time when a lot of good tobacco and a lot of good cigars came out of the Canary Islands.
Yeah, and another cigar we just talked about it earlier.
I never liked those.
You didn't like Monte Cruz,
No, Canary Island cigars.
really?
Yeah, you smoke them and the feathers were getting away.
There's another one. We talked, like I said, we talked about it earlier, but I don't know if it still might be around. The Santa Rosa Maduro.
It could be.
I think Santa Clara has it because it was their cigar. I mean, well, it was Brick.
It was Brick
Hanauer, but I don't know if it's still around. I think you can still get it from Santa Cruz. Yeah,
Santa Clara.
Santa
Santa
Clara.
Clara.
I'll have to look
Yeah,
that up. I have an account with them. I'll look that
Do
up.
The Santa Rosa cigar was famous for being the first painted Maduro.
yeah.
And it was so heavily painted that it was like one of those joke things from the back of a comic book.
Yeah.
You'd smoke it and your lips and teeth would turn black.
Yeah, yeah. But it was a really good cigar. It's most people's
Flavor-wise, it was great.
back in the early 2000s. It was most people's foray into Maduro cigars.
It was their first shot at it.
Yeah. And because it was a mild cigar, but it looked black. It was black, like
I think back
Black.
then they didn't use the same kinds of things they use now to make what I call fake Maduros. Now they mostly use Vaseline.
really.
To make fake Maduros? Yeah, because if you coat the leaves in Vaseline and then heat them, it forms a black crust on the leaf. So you get a very good looking, very oily looking, shiny Maduro cigar. Sometimes it would get a little toothy because of that baking
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. It was delicious. It was a really good cigar.
There's the Perdomo small batch, and also
Yes.
the Perdomo La Tradition
Oh yeah.
with the Cameroon wrapper.
Yeah, the ones that were
It's a
they were
little
square.
cigar.
They were
Yep.
box pressed, but like super box pressed.
Yep.
Yeah. You can cut something with it because they were so the edges were so
Loved those.
precise. Yeah, they were really good. Yeah, I don't know if Nick will ever do that again. He won't do the Cameroons.
What
There's
about
that
the
one.
No, he still has-
Passion de Silvio?
Oh well, that
They still
never
have
went
that.
away.
It never
they
went away.
just haven't made them.
Yeah, that's true.
No,
In,
they still
in
have some with the
today's
Cameroon.
world, that would probably be
small
considered a
one.
value-priced cigar. I mean, it was very expensive in its
Well, it's
day.
$20.
But these days,
Yeah, it's getting there.
half of everything is $20.
That edition to Silvio, it came in. The one was somebody gave me. It came in the coffin. I think they still come in coffins, but you lift it up and you open the lid and
Yeah, it
the
raises
cigar
up,
would raise up,
really,
and it
yeah.
had a quill of Spanish cedar around it. Was one of the best cigars I have ever had. It was fantastic.
Yeah. It was a delicious cigar,
That's a good one.
but it was too expensive back then. But like you said, nowadays,
Well, the price now would probably be $35, but you know
Yeah.
what? We'd still sell them.
probably.
Ooh, the Davidoff.
Which one?
The Master Selection #2.
I don't remember that.
Well, I wish the Davidoff Chateaubriand would come back.
Well, all right.
But that was rolled for Davidoff in Cuba. That was a whole
Right.
different
I remember
world.
those diademas, the ones that came in those 10-count boxes. They were really good. But anyway,
The other cigar I wish I could bring back is the Magus, which I know you don't like, but which everybody else in the world likes.
that's true.
But bringing it back now would be impossible, and not because the swamp where the tobacco grows is gone, not because the Indians who picked it are gone, but because Ecuador has undergone a massive fundamental change in the last 2 years. What used to be a minor trickle of drug people coming over the mountains from Colombia has become a massive effort to use Ecuadorian seaports as a staging place for drugs being shipped to North America.
So basically, like our southern border. Is that what you're saying?
Worse.
It's kind of-
It's not immigrants. It's drugs, and the people
Well-
who sell them. And it's not that Ecuador has a drug use problem. It's that the Mexican cartels have literally taken over the streets in every big city in Ecuador, and they are just controlling the streets. It's like Haiti now.
Wow. That's pretty bad.
So, and I talked with, I have a lot of friends down there, and
Is that,
business
is
contacts.
that why you sold your farms down there?
Yeah, basically, the reason to sell the farms was one,
Money.
money,
That's why.
and two, it's just not a friendly business environment anymore. And I hear that from people who have long said, it doesn't matter what happens in the street, the powerful people are still the powerful people. Not anymore.
Well, do you think they'll, as a legitimacy, the drug dealers go into tobacco and
No,
Still grow
I
the
don't think
tobacco?
they'll get into the tobacco business. They just want to control the ports and be able to ship drugs in from elsewhere in South America and ship it out. And somehow the Mexicans gained control of that in Ecuador. So the Sinaloa cartel controls Quito, and one of the other cartels controls Guayaquil, which is the other biggest city. And then smaller cartels are controlling some of the smaller cities that are still cities.
that's a shame.
It's a bad situation. However, they just elected a new president who is a very strong law and order kind of president. He's actually the son of the richest man in Ecuador. His name is Noboa. His father owns all of the banana plantations in Ecuador. And bananas are their #1 export. So it's big business. Actually, his father ran for president 5 times and lost every time.
And so his son ran once and
His
he
son
got it?
ran once and got it.
There you go.
So if he's a good law and order president, maybe they can bring peace back to the streets, which would be a good thing. I mean, you remember what it was like in Tegucigalpa, when you would be afraid to even leave the airport to get out of the city to get to where you were going. It's like that now.
Wow. It's pretty bad. Although it is a nice city, though.
Tegucigalpa?
Yeah. It's a nice looking city.
Horrible airport.
The airport.
If you like
well,
landing
yeah,
like that.
Landing wise. When Scott and I first went there, they didn't have an airport like Customs. When you went to Customs, it was like a board, it was like a plank with cinder
you put your
blocks.
stuff on it.
And they stamped your passport on the plank. But then the second time I went, it was like a real airport. There you go.
Well, they
That's funny.
still, neither there nor in Nicaragua do they have jetways on the airport. You still have to walk out on the tarmac and go up the steps.
Yeah, I had to do that.
It's kind of cool though.
It is.
It's
Because
cool.
you don't do it
Yeah.
as often. Yeah.
It's cool unless you're the last guy up the steps and a platoon of armed soldiers come to pull you off the plane.
Well, that's because you were.
Hasn't
The
happened.
President of the United States.
Yeah, right.
Or that.
That is an interesting flight in, though.
Did I make this up in my head, or did they have like planes that had crashed still sitting out on the sides
I
of the
don't-
tarmac
I don't
runway?
remember seeing that.
I have
but
no idea.
remember
My eyes
the-
were closed. I had.
The very first time I flew into Tegucigalpa, we were doing that horrible vertical landing, and at the last second, they announced that there was a goat on the runway, and they had to reverse and pull all the way back up, which made everybody in the plane immensely uncomfortable.
And sick, I would imagine.
And they had to go around, and while they were going around, someone came out and chased the goat away.
Good for them.
Welcome to
Did we do that
Honduras.
kind of landing?
No.
I thought we came in and just
It was
like made a
sideways.
right-hand turn.
It was sideways,
There's
like
just-
this.
there's-
No turn signal.
There's mountains all around the airport.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the only way in is either straight down or turned on your side,
That's how we
coasting
went.
along the
It
mountains.
looks like the tips of the wings are going to hit the houses.
Yeah.
That's how low you
I
have
think
to
it
come
did,
in.
actually.
You think you saw some sparks?
I did, man. Wow, that was weird.
It was it's not a good flight in.
It's a fun trip,
Leaving's
though.
fine. It was a fun trip.
Honduras
Scorpions
can be a
everywhere.
good time.
Couldn't-
Yes, there are, and
I got in the shower.
I made Rob turn the light on in the room. I'm like, I'm not reaching in there to get that. I'm not flicking that switch. There's gonna be a giant bug there.
the other thing you find in Honduras regularly that you don't want to find is called a fer de lance. It's a snake.
A snake, most deadly snake.
It's
Oh,
one of the most poisonous
world.
snakes in the world.
yeah, yeah.
And they're all over the place in Nicaragua and Honduras.
I don't remember seeing snakes.
I don't remember seeing snakes.
I remember
a
seeing
lot of iguanas.
If
They were like
if you saw
squirrels.
them, they would get you.
No,
They're aggressive and nasty.
Really?
it looked
Yeah.
like a school of fish, but it was iguanas all over,
everywhere.
everywhere.
Well,
Saw a monkey.
that
Monkey.
that demands that I tell you the story of Iguana Park in Ecuador.
I believe.
I think I've told you this
Yeah.
before, but it's been a long time. So there's a park in Guayaquil, which is the big industrial capital of Ecuador. And the official name of the park is Simon Bolivar Park, or Parque de Simón Bolívar. But unofficially, it's called Iguana Park. And it's a nice little park in the middle of the city, trees all around, benches all around. And on every tree, on every branch, are dozens of iguanas. So thousands of them all over this little park. And they're big. They're not little cute iguanas. They're like alligator iguanas. The thing about this park, though, is at a certain time every day, and they all do it at once, all the iguanas poop. And they poop liquid. And there are benches under the trees. So the locals sit on the benches outside the trees and watch all of the tourists and gringos sit in the wrong place, and they wait for the iguanas to poop, and they think it's hysterical.
It is.
It
It
is.
is hysterical.
Unless you're under there.
And
Getting rained on.
you can
Well,
Google
Rob might like it.
you can Google this. It's a real thing that the locals love. It's their cheap entertainment in the morning.
And where is this again?
It's in Guayaquil, Ecuador.
Guayaquil, Ecuador. Hopefully, I remember that if I ever decide to go there.
Just
Yeah,
Google,
don't sit
Google
under the tree.
Iguana Park.
Yeah,
Iguana Park.
it comes up, and the whole story about it comes up.
Yeah.
And it's great entertainment for the locals. They'll sit there every morning with a cup of coffee and a newspaper and read the newspaper, drink their coffee, and watch the gringos get crapped on.
That's awesome.
But wouldn't it be on the seats? Like when you're walking over
No,
to
because
a
it hits all the
bench.
people.
They,
They keep this.
Well,
So
they keep
there's
the
an
benches
outline.
clean
There's an outline or something.
they clean the park every night.
just so the locals can get their kicks.
Probably that's why. Feeding
Route
time, though,
66.
is actually much more, not more entertaining, differently entertaining. When they feed the iguanas, all of the thousands of them come climbing out of the trees, and they all come to the spot where the food is, and it's like a sea of giant iguanas just marching around, eating up the stuff.
What do they feed them? Just like pellets, kind of?
No,
Oh, the roll. Okay. Kind of for kiwi,
mostly bananas.
bananas.
They have a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know, that's a funny thing, too. The bananas in Ecuador grow in the same region as the tobacco grows. So if you drive into that region, on the left side of the road, you'll see tobacco growing as far as you can see. And on the right side of the road, you'll see banana trees as far as you can see.
Oh,
Did you know the proper way of taking the peel off of a banana? It's not the way we gringos do it here.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
What's
If
the-
you look at the way like apes, gorillas, monkeys do it, they don't take it from that stem. They take it from the other end, the bottom, and they peel it apart.
And why is that? Because they're monkeys? Or
It's because it's the right way to do it. They
well, it's the right way for them.
For them, it's the right way. Well, have you ever, whenever I try to like break it off with the stem, it just like usually just splits the other side and you end up with two. But
And you
I
get
don't-
mush on the end. 'cause
yes,
you squished
and
it.
but I don't do that anymore. I always peel it from the bottom because of that.
No, you could do it smart because it's got a handle now.
There you go.
you can eat it. Oh yeah.
You
There
can
go.
hold it up and eat it. It's got a handle.
All right,
That's
then.
true. Smart moose. It doesn't say
Banana,
much.
banana
Monkeys.
plantations are interesting to me because you think that there would be big trees with bananas. They're actually pretty short. They're only about 10, 12 feet tall. So the bananas are all within easy reach, which makes harvesting them easy, except for banana spiders, which are big with very long legs. Not a whole lot of, no, they're not venomous, but they can produce a pretty nasty bite. So if you're in the bananas all day, you're pretty much bound to be bitten.
Nope, not gonna be a job I'll ever take.
Not gonna happen
Nope.
then.
I don't like
I don't
daddy
like
long
spiders.
legs, man. I
Do
see
you
a
know-
daddy long leg, I'm up on the chair.
Do you know that daddy longlegs are actually the most poisonous spider in
Heard
the
that.
world?
Yeah,
That's
I've
what
heard
they
that.
say.
But their fangs are too weak
Small.
to penetrate
Yeah.
our skin, so they're no threat to us.
That's what they
Hopefully they
say. I don't know.
Hopefully they don't get a union together and change that.
Yeah.
Well, if they went to the dentist,
I was
we'd
gonna
be
say
in
they have a good
serious trouble.
dentist. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Because they're
It's a whole new
everywhere.
market for
'Cause daddy
dentists.
longlegs are everywhere.
Yeah, I don't. Nope. Sorry.
All right. Are there any other cigars that you wrote down?
Oh, the LT Tanda Bronze. That's for one that I wish they would bring back. I'm pretty sure it went away, but it was made in that factory, and it was Willie Herrera's own. I guess he distributed it too. And the only place I ever found it, Sam had them.
Really?
They were
Black Cat?
oh my God, they were so good.
Really?
Yeah.
And the closest thing to resurrecting that is the Partagas that's rolled in that factory.
Yeah.
The Partagas de Bronze.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That's a good cigar too.
Well, they make the Herrera Estelis made. They're made there in Miami, right?
I don't think so. I think the Herrera Esteli is made at the factory in Nicaragua.
Well, maybe the
State?
Miami's
No,
made there.
the other one.
Right? No, that's Honduras. I don't know.
I thought the original was made in Miami for some reason. But
It might have
maybe
it might have started there. It might have started there before they were consumed by Drew Estate.
the building's still there in Miami.
Maybe it's a
Hoyo
farmhouse.
They're rolled at the Hoyo de Nicaragua factory.
Oh, okay. There's a cigar that they really, I guess they still have it, Drew Estates. They have all different kinds. We just don't carry it.
No,
No, and we never get demand for it. Either.
No, nobody ever asked for it. It's actually a good cigar.
we have the TAA one.
Yeah, that was good.
There's a Cuban cigar that was discontinued that I really wish they would bring back. It was from the Romeo line. It's called the Romeo Celestialis Finas. It's a perfecto, but it's a fairly long perfecto, almost like
Not a Lancero size.
no. It's a perfecto, kind of like the signature size.
Okay.
Thin like that?
A little fatter than that. But it was a cigar that they recommended you age for 15 years before you smoke it. And I only smoked a couple of them that were fully aged, and they were absolutely phenomenal. I have never, ever had a better cigar than that.
That just made me think. What's a cigar we may have talked about this before. What's a cigar you've never had that you would have loved to have had?
That
Maybe
one
it
now.
would be the well, maybe it would be
Sounds really,
the Dom.
sounds really good.
Any of the Cuban Davidoffs, but
Davidoffs.
specifically the
I've
Dom
never had
Perignon.
one.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Dom
Dom
Perignon, I
Perignon, yeah.
wish I could have had.
I think Jeff Borshwitz has some, but it's like $1,000 a cigar or something. Sorry, a stick.
Well, he's got crazy stuff.
Yeah, you say he has a whole. I think he has a whole vault of stuff.
I don't know.
Any of the Cubans from the '60s.
Yeah,
Yeah, which the one Art talks about all the time.
the Hoyo de Monterrey Double Corona.
Well, no, not that one. The first one he said he ever had was a Corona-sized cigar. I forget which one it was.
I don't know, but Art likes to talk about the Double Corona Hoyo.
Takes
And
like
how it tastes
it's
like
a
a
chocolate
milkshake.
milkshake,
Yeah.
yeah.
But no, I'm
It did
talking.
though.
He's right.
He called it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, he says he used to buy them all the time down in Philly, and it was one of his first cigars. You think he said he paid like 10 cents for it or something like that?
Some of them would get plume, and he would tell them it was moldy. and
Yeah,
he'd get it
he'd
for,
get it
buy
for
'em
cheap.
cheap.
He'd buy it cheaper.
I can't see him doing that.
The best plume story I know, when I had my company, and I had just hired my national sales manager, Victor Charlie.
Victor Charlie.
Your
Maybe you
favorite
should
name.
explain what plume is.
Well, I
For
will.
some people, okay.
I will. So he starts out as my national sales manager, and after a couple of months, he says, "Why don't you come out into the territory that I run myself, and we'll go around to some customers." So I fly out, and as soon as I meet him and get out of the airport to his car, he says, "We have a problem." And he opens his trunk, and there's a pile of boxes of maggots. And a few of them are open. And there's plume all over all of them. Now, for those of you that don't know, and this is a subject of significant debate,
Yeah.
but plume is when the oils that give a cigar its flavor crystallize on the surface of the wrapper leaf. And when you find that, that is the moment in aging a cigar when it's at its absolute peak of flavor. So plume is a good thing. A lot of people assume it's mold. And then they either want to wipe it off, get rid of it, or get rid of the cigar altogether, which is a tragedy because they are cigars at their peak. Typically, mold is fuzzy. It might be white, but it often isn't white. It's kind of greenish.
Right.
Plume is shiny, it's clearly crystalline, and it's pure white.
And it wipes off. You
It-
can't wipe mold off.
No, you can't, because mold is growing
Right,
in the
tobacco.
tobacco.
Right.
The crystals form right on the surface,
Right.
so they wipe right
So if
off.
the rule of thumb is if you can wipe it off, it's plume. If you can't wipe it off, it's mold.
And what?
So here we are with a trunk full of maggots that are pluming like crazy. And my national sales manager says to me, "I can't sell these. There's white crap all over." I should have told him they must have been in Iguana Park at
Yeah,
the wrong
yeah,
moment.
yeah.
But I didn't say that. I explained to him what plume was, and he said, "Well, my customers don't know about that,
Well, that's your job.
and they
right?
won't buy it." I said, "That's fine. I know hundreds of retailers that would pay extra
Probably.
for a
Yeah,
fully
yeah.
plumed box of cigars." So I took them all back.
Why is it that I always found cigars that come in a tube would often have plume, like the Avo #2,
Romeo,
the Romeo.
Churchill. Yeah.
A lot of that crystallization process requires minimal air. For it to happen properly chemically, the less air that's available, the better.
All right, makes sense.
That's why cigars plume nicely in a good humidor that you don't open very often, because there's less air, more opportunity. And in a tube, it's the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, because when
How long does that process take? It depends.
It's different for every single cigar.
Okay.
There isn't like a plume
Timetable.
schedule.
Because I would tell if customers came up with that cigar, I'd like unscrew it and I'd say, look, I just so you know, because if you're proactive with it, you can explain what it is. But if they bring it back, then it's like,
Then they
oh,
won't
come on,
listen
They're
no
like,
matter what you
stop.
say.
Like, you're blowing smoke up. No pun intended, but
So, do we have any events coming up?
no, actually, we're entering November, so it's not a busy time for us. Reps don't necessarily do events. However, we are doing the promotion with the Eagles, and unfortunately, the Eagles, most of the games are. I think there's one more 1 o'clock game.
Yeah.
The rest of the season. So there are certain stores, King of Prussia, Colmar, Richborough, Doylestown, Downingtown.
Frazier.
Oh, that's right, Steve Stano and Frazier. They stay open for all of the games. And, some of the stores will have food, and they run the specials. So if the Eagles score a touchdown, you get 7 minutes to fill your a basket with cigars, and you save 20%. If they kick a field goal, you have 3 minutes to fill your basket. You can preload your basket ahead of time so you can just run up, walk up.
Yeah.
But if the Eagles score on defense or a touchdown on special teams, you actually get 25% off. So
Is a safety considered?
Safety also, yeah, that's scored on defense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make
that's
sure.
25%.
So it's 25% off. Nice. They had one earlier this year.
They did against Tampa Bay, I believe.
Yeah.
Because I was at the game and I'm texting the stores, 25% off, 25% off.
That's cool.
But yeah, other than now, there's nothing else. There's nothing else planned
Nothing on
again.
the schedule.
Nah, it's just that time of year.
Yeah. It's not a good time of year.
No.
So, although newer cigars are starting to come out, like the Perdomo 30th cigar is coming out this month.
I'm looking forward to that.
It's really good.
You've had it?
Yeah. It's real good. There's another one coming out too, and I can't think of what it is.
It's a Red Meat Lovers from. Seriously, it's called Red Meat Lovers from Steve
Domino's.
Saka. From Steve Saka. I don't know what's coming out.
There's something
The
coming out,
Trinidad 3.
and that's what it is. The Trinidad 3 is coming out this month. I knew there were 2 cigars, so I'm looking forward to. I have not had that yet.
The Trinidad, I'm really looking forward to
Yeah, I love San Andres wrappers. They're very tasty.
it. Yes, they are.
So, anything else going on legislative-wise?
No, it's been quiet the last couple of weeks. No updates, nothing new. I think
Did the initiative here in Pennsylvania die already?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it still hanging?
which one?
It's done.
The TAC? Wait.
The no smoking anywhere?
Yeah, no, it's done. I heard Greg Zimmerman.
Oh yeah.
said
Okay.
that
Yes, that was
There's-
the local one that
Yeah.
got squashed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was a non-starter.
Yeah. Didn't he? I got my information through Veronica, our Christoph rep, and who she's in Harrisburg and she hangs out at his shop. So
Yeah,
she told me he told her that it comes around. I think we said this when we first announced it, but this comes around like every couple of years.
And it dies every time.
It dies every time somebody's trying to make, it's an election's coming up and they try to, say this is what they were fighting for, kind of thing.
that's not going to pass.
It's
in
for the
Pennsylvania.
children.
The children.
The children that aren't allowed in our stores.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. So
Do you ever think I could imagine having a store that's just like a grab and go, where it's just sold the cigars and you couldn't smoke in it. I mean, I'm sure they're successful, and I'm
Joey Ormond's place was like that
who?
in Jersey.
Absolutely. Churchill's Cigar.
Churchill's.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
One of the
Is
oldest
that
cigar
Hatfield?
shops in New Jersey.
Is that Hatfield or Haddonfield?
No, it's Cherry Hill.
You did say Cherry Hill.
Yeah. And he famously would tell you, I don't want to marry my customers. I just want them to take their cigars, give me my money, and get the hell out.
I love the fact that, I love the fact that we have a lounge, customers hang out, and that kind of stuff. But I guess if you're really looking at it from a financial perspective,
It's a lot easier to do grab and go.
yeah, the
Yeah.
extra rent. But then again, how do you? I think having that builds loyal customers. They come back all the time. So I couldn't imagine opening one that didn't have that. Matter of fact, I can't even think of any.
It is the single magic thing that no online
Yeah,
cigar purchase can provide you.
very
a
true.
place to
Right.
smoke
Yeah, sit and smoke. Exactly.
with good people.
I can't. I'm trying to
Don't know
think.
about
I
that.
can't think of any place. Can you think of any place that doesn't have a lounge around here?
Smoker zone, the one like you're smoking it.
Yeah, but they sell cigars, but I always consider them more of a
Wholesale.
wholesaler, head shop. I don't know what you want to call it, but
State Line Cigars on the border between Delaware and Maryland has
Hey.
a big store
yeah.
that you can't smoke in
Well, you can't in Delaware, I don't think.
at all.
I don't
No.
think.
State,
I don't
yeah,
think you can.
Yeah.
Well, that's another store. Then it's called the Humidor, the Big Humidor, also in Delaware.
Oh, in
that's an
Salisbury?
enormous store,
The one in Salisbury?
and they
They're
do
building
big
a lot.
mail order business.
They're building a cigar lounge, or they built. It's built
in Delaware.
maybe it was Salisbury, Maryland.
Then that's a new venture for them.
Yeah. Yes, I was there
The Big
a year
Humidor
ago. About
is based in Delaware. They do huge mail order business, and they have an enormous store, but you can't smoke in it.
I don't get it. Unless they're not allowed to.
No,
Well,
By
it's Delaware.
state- Delaware law,
yeah.
yeah, I think it's Delaware law.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I
And,
don't.
and in New Jersey, you can't have a lounge. You can only have a tasting room,
Yeah.
officially. But
Isn't-
in
I don't
think they-
practical terms,
I don't think they.
Isn't-
Yeah.
Delaware, the state that tried to ban you from smoking on your own property if your neighbors didn't like it.
I don't know.
Maryland.
That sounds more like
Maryland.
California to me.
Maryland
Maryland,
tried to do that.
that's ridiculous.
Some towns in California did do that.
That's the dumbest thing. It's your own property. You can do what you want with it.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, is it really harmful or is it just annoying the smell? Because I mean, it has to be if you're outside, it has to be completely the particles dissipated, and it's just the. I would have to think that.
It's purely psychological. If
Yeah.
they see you smoking, they assume that they smell it,
Oh,
even
absolutely.
if they can't.
Oh yeah, because I mean, you get people 50 yards away come running over on the beach. I'm like, wait a minute, there's no possible way.
And that person that comes running over to you is probably smoking a cigarette at the same time.
Yeah. Cigarette in mouth. You can't smoke that. Dumbasses. All right, let's get our final thoughts on this cigar. Moose.
Flavors haven't changed too much for me, but I did pick up some of the white pepper that you had mentioned earlier, just a little bit. Great smoke. I'm enjoying it. I give it a 9.
Okay. Paul?
This is a cigar that, to me at least, has 0 transitions in it. It has not changed that much since the first puff.
Right.
But that's okay because the flavors are good. It's a mellow, kind of easygoing cigar. It's got good flavors. I still get that, I'll call it cashew just to honor Scott, that nuttiness on the retrohale. It's still got the really mild white pepper and a hint of sweet cream. It's the creaminess and the sweetness seem to be connected.
Okay.
I give it an 8.95.
Okay.
I'll give it a 9. The nuttiness for me is becoming more of a, and I just got this on the retrohale, more of a walnut kind of nut. Not quite as sweet, but you know that with the walnut you get that sort of nasally after or finish.
It's almost bitter, but not bitter.
Yeah,
It's-
yes. It's
It's
tough to
akin to
describe,
bitter,
but it's not.
but it's not.
It's not
bitter.
the tongue flavor. It's the
Palate.
the palate you get. So yeah, as I said, I give this a 9. I really like the cigar.
Do we know what the? I forgot already what the price point is.
I don't know.
They're very reasonable for
It's
my
like
father's stuff.
$8.99 or something like that. I think.
Yeah, it's right around $9 for the Toro.
That's a home run, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If Art was here, he would say it raised his rating.
I agree with just about everything you said. I don't get any of that nut, the walnut, at all. I'm getting a nice creaminess coating my palate. I'm getting the white pepper. I'm also still getting that roasted coffee through the retrohale, which I absolutely love. I think it's awesome. I
You
also
should try drinking that sometime.
no.
Maybe you'd like it.
I'm
I
getting
like the
kind of
smell.
a honey aftertaste too. Go ahead, sorry.
That's right. I also give it a 9. I hate to agree with you, but I'm agreeing with Moose, not you.
I agreed with Moose.
So there it is. So, well, thank you for watching.
You're welcome.
Not you. Thank you for watching on Instagram and
Hello and
Facebook.
Facebook Live.
Instagram.
Is that what it is?
Instagram.
I don't have Instagram.
No,
Anyway.
nobody does. Just because I call it Instagram.
I was doing it as an homage to you. But okay.
An homage.
And of course I had to
Don't
crap
you
all
do an
over it.
homage after someone's dead?
Yeah.
So you're doing an homage to Scott.
So thanks for watching. Don't forget,
Sort of.
check out the show again next Wednesday at 7 o'clock.
Life's
Smoke
too
'em
short
if
to
you got
smoke
'em.
cheap cigars.
Ciao for now, everybody.
Ciao for
Smoke
now.
on.